My videos have been copied, my ideas have been stolen countless times, and that is awesome because it means I've created content so good that other creators cannot help themselves but mimic me. And my ability to create these novel ideas has generated me around 20 million long-form views on my main channel and a steady 6-figure income just by talking about the things I'm interested in. Unfortunately, the majority of YouTube advice out there tells you, oh, just copy what's working. Oh, just hop on this trend. Oh, just be yourself. Or they try to sell you some magic formula that will guarantee views as if they can predict an algorithm. But in this video, I will reveal the framework to make content ideas that are so good everyone copies you. And if you stick around, I'll give you the exact template that I use to record my content ideas to ensure I never lose them and also have a constant source of inspiration. Let's get into it. So the typical advice you hear is to find a video and just remake that because, oh, that video got 100,000 views, so if you remake it, maybe you'll get 10,000 views, and that'd be great. And while that works sometimes, and I will tell you a better way to do this formula, it's completely ignoring the fact that you are not truly creating anything. You are just a copycat. And this is pretty common YouTube advice, especially with faceless channels. That's why you see all these faceless channels that just copy each other's videos, titles, thumbnails, even scripts. Because here's how the true nature of ideas work. You see, your mind is kind of like an iceberg floating out in the Arctic Sea. And the part above water that you're actually able to observe is your conscious mind. This is essentially your stream of consciousness. It's what you're seeing right now, what you're hearing right now, what you're thinking right now. Everything you're observing is consciousness. And this is where you are all the time. You're always up here in the conscious mind. But the truth is that the conscious mind is only 5% of the actual human brain, and the other 90 to 95% is the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is all of these automatic systems going on in the background completely under your nose 24/7. It's where you store trauma, it's where you store memories, it's where you store your abilities, your skills, and it is also where ideas come from. Because what happens is throughout your life, you receive all kinds of inputs from books you read, from conversations you have, from experiences you have, from stories you hear, from movies and music, and anything that enters your conscious mind. And what happens is throughout your entire life in the background, these things then go into your subconscious mind and they just make themselves right at home. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff down there, turning into a big bowl of spaghetti. And what happens is these inputs combined, your brain makes all of these unique connections and then it gives birth to a new idea. That is a light bulb if you can't tell. Meaning that not only is the subconscious the silent architect of your reality, which is kind of terrifying, but it's also an idea generation machine. So what this means is that it's not that certain people have a magic creative gift and you don't, and you have to rely on copying other people's ideas. It just means that you weren't aware of this machine and especially how to use it. So now all you really need to do is ensure that you're getting the right inputs to put into the machine, and then the machine is going to do the work in the background. It's kind of like an AI like ChatGPT. If you really want ChatGPT to get you the results you want, you have to know how to train it and give it specific instructions, specific materials to work with. Otherwise, it's just going to spew out very basic, corporate-y sounding, not good results with a bunch of emojis and M dashes for some reason. But when you train it properly, like anything else, is an extremely useful tool. But I don't care how good your machine is. If someone pooped in the top of it, most likely poop is going to come out. Meaning that you need to learn how to consume the right inputs to put into your machine of your subconscious so you can actually get the desired outputs, whatever this awesome gold nugget is right here. For example, my other channel that has around 240,000 subscribers is a self-improvement channel, and the majority of the actual meat of the content is based on the inputs that came from a handful of books I read. But because I read a couple varying books about psychology, discipline, focus, stoicism, business, subconscious, all of those things, then it went into my subconscious, it began making all these different connections, and suddenly new ideas were coming out of it, which, here's the thing, ideas just stem from connections your brain has made from things that already existed. So all you have to do is yoink some things, twist them a little bit, and boom, that's a new novel idea, which is amazing for content because what does novelty do? It releases dopamine, meaning if you're copying other people's videos and it's just a copy of a video you saw, sure, if people, maybe they watch that video and they want to see something like it, they'll click on you. Maybe they haven't seen that video yet and they'll click on yours, but pretty quickly the market gets saturated because everyone's using the exact same title formats, the exact same thumbnail formats, and then boom, the meta has to change because everyone's doing the same shit. Whereas if you know you're putting out something that your ideal viewer hasn't seen before, it is 10 times as likely that you'll elicit a click from them because they're going to see it, they're going to see the novelty, their brain is going to give them a hit of dopamine, which puts them on this trail, this slip and slide almost of momentum to click, and then your hook pulls them in if it's a good hook, and then they watch your entire video. But before we get into the rest of how to train your brain and create good ideas, you need to understand this. If you don't have a deep understanding on who your audience is, you could sit around working on ideas all day and you still may completely miss the mark because it's just not for the correct person that you want to attract to your channel. Whereas when you have a crystal clear audience avatar, it acts as a filter for every single content idea, thumbnail, title, hook, every single word, every single image you show in your videos to make those videos 10 times more compelling for that ideal viewer. And that is truly how you build a following and not just general videos that someone may watch once and never subscribe, never watch you again. So in the description, I have my audience avatar generator. It's a completely free tool for you to instantly gain the clarity you need on your audience avatar. Check it out after this video. But here's the thing, hopefully you are making content about things you're interested in, meaning the actual meat of the video is covered because you're already watching other videos, podcasts, audiobooks, reading books, reading articles, learning and experiencing the things within your topics, meaning that your subconscious is going to get a good grasp, a good amount of inputs for the actual talking points, the education, the stories, everything you're going to tell. But that doesn't fucking matter if no one clicks on it. So you need to train your subconscious not only to understand the topics you want to talk about, but to understand exactly how to package your videos. That is the core idea, honestly, because if your idea is truly an idea and not a topic, those are different things, the idea is going to completely dictate what the title and thumbnail look like. And the answer to this is exposure. Your brain needs to be constantly exposed to good titles, good thumbnails, especially ones within your industry that your viewers like. Because what happens is your brain is very good at noticing patterns, which is why it so clearly stuck out to you when I drew a square instead of a circle. So the more you expose yourself to good titles, good thumbnails, good ideas, your brain is going to get a feel of what good actually looks like, and it's going to start using those patterns within the subconscious to then generate new good ideas for you. And this doesn't mean sitting around wasting time watching a bunch of YouTube videos instead of actually taking action. But what this means is you need to have a resource, a bank that you are constantly exposing your mind to, but not directly copying. You're just ingesting it, letting your brain digest it, and then you'll come back to it later. For example, as like a side passion project, I am starting a business selling blue light glasses, not the clear ones, the cheap ones that don't actually do anything, true blue light blocking glasses, which means I need to learn how to get better at advertising. I'm already pretty good because I'm pretty good at content, but I want to get exceptionally good at copywriting, especially headlines. So what did I do? I didn't go watch a 10-minute YouTube video on how to write advertisements. I bought one of the OG copywriting, how to write a good advertisement books. And I'm already a couple pages in, and it is a list of 100 different headlines that have generated millions of dollars in revenue. And they're all pretty different. For example, thousands have this priceless gift, but never discover it. Do you do any of these 10 embarrassing things? Profits that lie hidden in your farm. Have you these symptoms of nerve exhaustion? All those headlines I just read sound extremely different for extremely different types of people. And yes, that is the case, but the more of these I read, the more I notice very specific patterns within all of them. For example, almost all of them directly call out the reader either by saying you or your, or by stating their exact desires or problems that they're currently dealing with. A second pattern is that the majority of them contain question words. What, how, why, which. And you want to know a secret? Both of those patterns you can use in your own titles, because a title is just a headline for a video instead of a headline for an advertisement or a product to sell. So like me with this book reading headlines, you need a bank of banger packaging, banger titles to just read through over and over and over to expose your brain to, so that your brain can establish these patterns, and then you can go make a video that could be a completely different video, a completely different topic, and your brain is going to take some of those patterns and put it in the title. And what do you know? You have a title people will actually click on. So in the description, you will find a link to copy this Notion template. It's painfully simple because that's all you actually need. The first little bit is your content ideas. This is where you can record stuff like how to make good content ideas. And then you can do this drop down menu and just brain dump. So you can just type all these different points, because typically when lightning strikes, when you get that idea, you need to capitalize on it. You cannot trust your brain to remember things. All these memories and consciousness are fleeting. They flow in, they flow out, and you really don't remember 99% of the things you think about. In fact, probably 80% of your thoughts are the same things you thought yesterday. And then the second part down here is content inspiration. As you can see, there's a little thing for you to add an image. What you need to do is, anytime you see a thumbnail that's clearly an outlier or that you really like, or maybe it's a headline for a news article, or maybe it's a caption on Instagram or a hook on TikTok, or the text on the screen on the first 1 second of the TikTok, something like that, screenshot it, drag it and drop it into this content inspiration tab. Also, you can do this on desktop or your phone. And over time, you're just gonna have this giant wall of inputs, of patterns to train your brain on. So then over time, it's going to have ideas as well. There are going to be some times where you see a title and thumbnail and your brain actually gets a new idea to make something similar like that, but it is a new idea. You're not just copy and pasting the title and thumbnail, because often all you really need to do is take a video's packaging, an idea you've heard, a solution to a problem, or anything else that already exists, and all you need is your brain, your subconscious you, to generate one new thing, one new angle, and that changes everything. For example, there are thousands of videos on YouTube on how to be confident. All of them, advice you've probably heard before, maybe something you haven't heard before. But I knew that when I wanted to make a video on how to be confident, I couldn't just say how to be confident with a picture of me smiling as the thumbnail. But because I had all my different inputs and made all these different connections, I had a perspective that, well, all confidence really is self-image. There's no specific tactic, there's no specific practice of imagining everyone in their underwear. It is self-image. And what my audience avatar needed to do was shift their self-image, and they would become more confident. And that was all I needed. That was the unique idea that informed the packaging of this mental shift makes you dangerously confident. I didn't even put any additional text in the thumbnail because I didn't have to. All I did was, the thumbnail picture was the desired outcome my viewer have. They want to be confident. They want to be able to talk to people, especially women, and not flounder around. And all I really had to do was mental shift. And that self-image idea was actually a repeating pattern throughout my content. It was a lot of changing your identity, changing your self-image, because I believe that reprograms your subconscious mind to make you do better actions, because self-improvement is basically, how do I do better actions to have a better life? So one of my videos that was truly a unique idea, this was not a thumbnail that I saw anywhere else, this was no idea that I got from anyone else, was the idea of killing your current self to become that higher version of yourself. And so I made a video titled How to Kill Your Current Self, and it got 300,000 views. And that was a complete gamble. Don't get me wrong. I've done title formulas that have worked before. That was a brand new thing, but because it was a truly good idea that aligned with the ideal viewer, the audience avatar, it got 300K. But there was one mistake that everyone, including me, makes that basically turns the ideation process within your brain completely off. There's a reason why the majority of people say they get their best ideas in the shower. Shower thoughts is what they call them. And that's because for a lot of people, it's the only time during the day where they're not listening to music or a podcast or talking to people or watching videos, meaning it's the only time of the day where their subconscious isn't being completely bombarded and clouded with random information, random inputs. Because if you're constantly consuming content, your conscious is always full, meaning your subconscious doesn't have the space to surface a new idea. Whereas when you're in the shower, when you're meditating, when you're going on a walk, when you're eating a meal without having a fucking YouTube video playing in front of you, suddenly you have an open state of consciousness, which allows the subconscious to surface that new video idea. So that's how to make good content ideas. And of course, this takes time, but not as much as you think. The brain is plastic, the brain is malleable, and it will get up to speed pretty quickly, especially if you are truly serious about this YouTube thing, because when you have true desires, true goals you're working towards, your subconscious knows that, meaning not only when you're consciously working are you working towards that goal, but when you're sleeping, when you're meditating, when you're going on walks, anytime you're doing anything else, your subconscious is then working inside you to solve those problems as well. But if this is something you are completely serious about, I highly recommend checking out Audience Alchemy. It is my mastermind filled with my psychologically bulletproof systems to building an undeniable personal brand, to make content that is truly compelling and attract your ideal viewer, and to build a 6-figure business that runs in the background off the back end like I have done. So you're not a slave to ad revenue or sponsors. But here's the thing, even if you have an amazing idea, if you don't truly communicate it with depth, your viewers aren't going to care, because it's going to be surface level content that they feel like they've heard before and they're going to click off. So if you click the video on the screen right now, I'm going to reveal the unfair advantage, the triple S method that got me 240,000 YouTube subscribers. So on the screen right now, click it. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye-bye.